WLNS is here for you, celebrating 75 years of bringing you the news with 6 News at 5.
Hamas releases all remaining 20 living hostages this morning, and the peace deal to end the fighting in Gaza is now taking hold. It's our top story at 5. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jorma Duran. President Trump, who pushed both sides to accept the peace proposal, addressed Israel's parliament this morning, celebrating the achievement, and then he traveled to Egypt to discuss with partners who will govern war-torn Gaza. Here for you now at the latest is Erica Brown.
Emotional reunions filled with tears, excitement, and relief as the released Israeli hostages embraced their families after more than 2 years in Hamas captivity. President Trump, who helped broker the peace plan, addressed Israel's parliament Monday, receiving a standing ovation, and called the moment the historic dawn of a new Middle East.
This is not only the end of a war, this is the end of an age of terror and death and the beginning of the age of faith and hope and of God.
As part of the deal, nearly 2,000 Palestinian prisoners were returned to the West Bank and Gaza, greeted by crowds of supporters. Then in Egypt, President Trump led a ceremonial signing of the agreement, which also calls for a surge of humanitarian aid into Gaza. Leaders from more than 20 nations joined President Trump for a summit to discuss the next phases of the peace deal, but representatives from Israel and Hamas did not attend.
For the people of Gaza, the focus now must be on restoring the basics of a good life. We're going to have a lot of money coming into Gaza and a lot of rebuilding and building. It's not so much rebuilding, it's really building.
Other major hurdles ahead include who will govern Gaza and disarming Hamas. But today, many are celebrating reunions with loved ones and the step toward peace. Erica Brown, CBS News, the White House.
Many mid-Michiganders are reacting to the peace deal. 6 News reporter Zach Prees joins us now live in the studio. He spoke to a few and is here for you now with what they had to say. Good evening, Zach.
Good evening, Jorma. Students at Michigan State are reacting to the ceasefire, the return of hostages and prisoners, as well as the news that food and other aid will finally be allowed into Gaza. I had the chance to catch up with a few students who say that today's ceasefire is a relief.
I would have to agree with Jenna, honestly. Any shifts or moves forward that will allow for future peace for anyone that lives on this planet is a great and positive thing.
Nassim Baruti and Jenna Ali, members of the Hurriyah Coalition, a Palestinian activism group at Michigan State, were happy to see the news this morning, but remain skeptical of long-term relations between Israel and Palestine. Ali is happy that aid will reach famine-stricken Gaza, but says the famine should never have happened.
That is complete and utter bare minimum. That shouldn't have ever been taken away to begin with. It's the forced man-made famine.
Shosh Margolin, a sophomore at MSU and a member of the Michigan State Chabad Campus Jewish Center, says today Jews across the world have been brought together.
Getting to see everybody gather in Jerusalem, Tel Aviv, everywhere, come together as like one group and everybody celebrate. It was definitely really emotional. People were crying, laughing.
Alon Wasserman, a senior at Michigan State who is also a member of the MSU Chabad, says he hopes today will bring students closer, regardless of religion. He says he sees common ground between Jewish and Muslim students.
Regardless of the side we're on, we both had people that we knew getting hurt because of it, and there is a unity there.
Baruti agrees. He says it's not Muslims versus Jews at all.
I personally would step away from even naming it Muslims versus Jews. I'm a Muslim, I am a Palestinian, I have many friends that are Jewish. I don't have anything against the religion.
Now, those I talked to today, they tell me that anything that removes the suffering of any people is a good thing, and they hope that the ceasefire is permanent. Jorma.
Zach, thank you very much. The Michigan State University Department of Police and Public Safety and the East Lansing Police Department have now both confirmed a body was found last night near campus in the Red Cedar River just east of Cedar Village. This is an ongoing investigation. However, authorities do not believe there is a risk to public safety. There are limited details right now, including the sex of the victim, age, and of course identity. Officials say further information will be released at a later time, so be sure to stay with 6 News. We'll have more on this story tonight on 6 News at 6. Today, the Michigan Bureau of Elections released its report on the recounts, ballot audits, and post-election procedural audits conducted after the 2024 general election, and the results were trustworthy. The Michigan Bureau of Elections, along with county clerks and their staff, conducted 3 types of statewide reviews: a state-led recount of the Michigan House 44th District state representative race, a statistical statewide ballot audit of the 2024 general election in 166 randomly selected city and township precincts, and post-election procedural audits at the precinct level, including a hand count of the presidential race in each of 378 randomly selected precincts. And the reviews found that Michigan's election system was effective, secure, and accurately tabulated the results. It's never been cheaper to buy gas in 2025 in the state of Michigan than right now. Gas prices are down by 17 cents when compared from a week ago to an average of $2.92 a gallon for regular unleaded. Prices in Greater Lansing average $2.88 per gallon. Jackson has some of the most expensive gas in all of Michigan, but it's still just $2.94 per gallon. Across America, people are celebrating 2 holidays today. Some people are marking the day as Columbus Day to honor Christopher Columbus, the European explorer, some credit with, quote, discovering America. Then there are those who choose to honor the people who found it first. They're gathering at the Michigan State Capitol for drums, dancing, and community as they celebrate Indigenous Peoples Day. And that's where we find our Rachel Ramsey. She joins us now live with that report. And what's going on out there, right, Rachel?
Hey, Jorma, dozens are here honoring and celebrating the native people of the land we live on. Many are representing their culture with clothing, dance, and the beat of the powwow drum. Right now, speakers are sharing their experience as Indigenous people in the United States. Earlier, there was a moment of silence for Indigenous women who disproportionately go missing and are murdered. Now, Indigenous Peoples Day is recognized here in the state of Michigan, but that's not the case in every state. Take a listen to some of the history that these speakers shared about how their culture was suppressed and why it's important to never forget.
See all of our dancers, how we dance. That's that Jintamuk. Now that was taken away from us. It wasn't until 1978 that they said that you can be free of who you are with the American Indian Religious Freedom Act.
Now, Indigenous Peoples Day was created to counter Columbus Day, which critics say should not be celebrated. I'm going to step to the side. You can see they actually just started up the powwow drum again. There is some dancing and some singing, if you can see that. We'll have more for you on 6 News at 11 about the event and what attendees had to say about why it was important to be here. Here for you live in Lansing. Rachel Ramsey, 6 News.
From Storm Tracker 6, this is Weather First, sponsored by Auto Owners Insurance. Simple human sense.
If you were out and about this morning, boy, we saw some dense fog out there. It made visibility quite difficult to see through some of that fog, and so it was a slow start to the day. Here's a look back at the visibilities this morning at 5 a.m. We'll put this in motion just a couple of hours through around 6 a.m. Quarter of a mile or less in Lansing, near 0 visibility in Alma, 1 mile in Jackson. It kind of stayed in that low range for a few hours, and then by around 10 or 11, things started to break up, and by around 1 o'clock, visibility was back to kind of our standard observations when there is no problem. Here's how it looked on the Jackson cam. You could see the fog rolling in there in the distance. You can watch, boy, visibility just goes boom down to near 0 for a short time. Then 8, 9, 10 o'clock fog is starting to lift, and by around lunchtime or just a little after, we started to see some breaks in the clouds as the sunshine returned. Satellite and radar today shows some showers to our west. Those will likely not make it here. We'll see a few clouds again tonight, maybe a little more fog late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Temperatures though, oh so pleasant. 72 Lansing, St. John, 71, 72 towards Marshall, East Ann Arbor at 70 degrees. On the Skyview network, there's still a few clouds overhead in St. John's. Current temperature at 71 degrees, morning low down to 49. Not a whole lot of wind out there again today. On the Capitol cam, we've got blue skies and a temperature of 72. 45 was the morning low. No report of a peak wind today because it was so light out there. In Grand Ledge, same thing, partly cloudy skies. Beautiful evening high today, 73. That wind gust, boy, it'll get you. It's 1 mile per hour. That's all we could muster on the sensor there in Grand Ledge. Not a lot. In Jackson, lots of sunshine. Temperature also very warm at 73. That is our high. Morning low even warmer, 54 degrees. Finally in Hillsdale, almost a totally blue sky. Just some clouds on the horizon. Temperature at 70. 71 was our high. Our morning low down to 49. And our wind gust today, that gusted all the way up to 13 miles per hour. Tonight's forecast, we're going to watch these showers off to our west. Those will dissipate. Just some clouds out there for tomorrow morning. Some quiet for tonight. Sunshine tomorrow afternoon after some morning clouds and fog. A little weak system's going to slide by just across the area by early Wednesday morning. Couple morning rain showers. And then by the afternoon as the high begins to nose in, we'll see a return to sunshine. Tonight's forecast, low temperature down to 50 degrees with partly cloudy skies, but some fog may form late tonight and early tomorrow morning. Then for tomorrow itself, morning clouds, afternoon sun, high temperature, a little bit cooler tomorrow, only in the mid 60s. The 6-day forecast, Wednesday near 60 with a few morning showers. We rebound into the upper 60s by Friday, near 70 on Saturday with some scattered showers. Then we go back in the 50s on Sunday and kind of hover in the upper 50s and low 60s most of next week with a few rain chances here and there. It's that time of the year. I call it fog season because in the fall, lots of times you get the right kind of moist air mass and you wake up and where's my yard?
Yeah, the time lapse is really cool.
Yeah, and just how fast. I mean, it gets in here really quick and it takes off just as fast.
We appreciate it. Well, take a look at this, David. On Friday, troopers from the Michigan State Police Jackson Post went to a home in the 3600 block of Spring Arbor Road for a report of a deer trapped in a wrought iron fence. First, the trooper put a coat over the deer's head to calm it down. Then, using a floor jack and a good deal of patience, the trooper was able to safely free the deer without injury. Look at that.
Good ending right there. Nice.
There it is.